Folks, we're just about to get ready. One more minute. Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Jason Spears, USPTA Eastern President. Before we get started with today's awards conference, I just want to remind you and everyone joining in today will be getting credit for attendance. Today is a special day, a day that we get a chance to celebrate our 2020 award winners for their excellence, leadership, and involvement within the communities and within our industry. Presenting these awards is just a small token of our appreciation for their sense of community and giving back. It's members like these that inspire us every day to elevate the standards of the teaching professional. On that same note, I'm happy to report that our Eastern Division membership has seen a really nice increase to nearly 750 members. Much of this is thanks to the help of the USTA and USPTA National for paying our dues if we completed our USTA Safe Play, attained 6 credits within your 3-year cycle, and stayed current with your payments. Even though it's been a tough year for a lot of us, thanks to our leadership and shared vision, we were able to pivot our in-person workshops to consistent virtual learning. Our board continues to focus on 4 main pillars: education, improving communication, helping to facilitate the new national education track, and continue to create new partnerships in the community and industry. Although we were hoping to have this weekend as our spring annual conference in Quogue, we decided to postpone our annual conference to November, still in Quogue, Long Island. We hope you all will join us then as well. In the meantime, we are starting to offer some in-person workshops across the division. Be on the lookout for upcoming notifications and for our launch of a new website. Today, we have a special lineup for you, including a message from our USPTA National Vice President, Bill Mountford, a video presentation of our award winners, a video tribute to the late past President Daniel Burgess, followed by a much anticipated webinar from Emma Doyle. Without further ado, I give you Bill Mountford with a message from National.
Good afternoon. My name is Bill Mountford, and I serve on the USPTA Board of Directors. I'm happy to be on this Zoom with this very brief presentation, but I can probably speak for most of us when I say I would rather be in Quogue as was originally planned. And I'm already looking forward to November 5th and 6th this fall, getting together in person, hopefully without masks, et cetera, and especially outside. I want to thank, before starting, Jason Spears for giving me this platform, Mike Smuckler, as usual, for organizing all this, and the executive director for this division, Paul Fontana. And also, before delivering a couple topics, I wanted to say that this is a hard time because it's very difficult to imagine any USPTA Eastern gathering, whether it's our annual convention, and I say our because I was once the president of USPTA Eastern, and or whether it's the World Conference. And back when I was really involved in the division as an officer and then later as a president, a really dear friend of mine was Daniel Burgess. So it was a very upsetting, shocking bit of news. It's hard to imagine that Daniel Burgess is being referred to in the past tense these days. So we will remember him properly later, but it is a bittersweet time. This is the first time many of us from the USPTA Eastern remember Danny so well. We'll have all gotten together. A couple topics to, I don't know how you segue from that, and I'm sorry, but I really did wish to say that. A couple topics that I wanted to offer, and this is by no means a full national update. We will do that in QUAG. There's a lot of information you deserve as our members, but just a couple of reminders that would really be helpful if you could share with others who are also members of our trade association. First thing is that we are going to get together at the World Conference this year in Las Vegas at the Westgate. That's going to take place on September 19th through the 23rd. By then, we trust that most of the remaining restrictions will be removed, and hopefully there will be a fairly comprehensive return to normalcy. And they're in the final planning, the office is in the final planning stages, and it is promising to be a really, once again, tremendous conference. I think people have so much follow-up interest in going away that it's likely to be one of the really great ones. So hopefully you're like me and eager to kind of get out of the confines of your home or work and do something fun. Join us September 19th through 23rd. The other thing is, over the course of the last year, due to the natural social distancing that occurs on a tennis court, our sport is, from a recreational play standpoint and from a coaching teaching industry standpoint, pretty healthy. I mean, we supposedly, according to TIA research, picked up 4 million new players. They might have included lapsed players who were looking to exercise outside of the gym and fell back into interest in playing tennis. So there's lots of opportunities for those of us who work in this, who have this line of work, whether we're coaching, teaching, organizing, introducing the sport to new players. So I view that as really a positive. The other one is a kind of an overarching message. With this accreditation agreement with the USTA, one of the key points had always been the safe play training and background checks. I bring that up because when this pandemic hit, the USTA did step up and were willing to absorb most of the costs for renewed memberships. The USPTA, of course, they picked up the rest. But one of the things that the USTA does expect, and it probably is something we ought to do from, the moral high ground, is that safe play training background check. And there is a good percentage of our members who have yet to do that or they're not current. And I just urge you, if you haven't done that, or members of your staffs, your teams have not done that, tell them to find the time. I think all in it takes 1 hour and 45 minutes, and it gives you the ability to share with customers. It gives us as a trade association the capacity to truthfully say that our members are safe play trained and background checked. So, our sport will avoid some of the ignominious stories that have occurred in some of these other sports. So those are my 3 messages. I know there's a couple videos coming up, and of course Emma Doyle. And once again, I really appreciate Jason Smooks and Paulie for giving me the floor for a couple of minutes. And I'm already really looking forward to QUAG and hopefully before that, the World Conference. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill, for your message. We're looking forward to meeting in person in QUAG as well, and hopefully we'll see some of you in Las Vegas for the USPTA World Conference in September. Up next, USPTA has put together a video of our award winners because we couldn't be in person to celebrate. Congratulations to all of our winners. You have made us proud.
Congratulations on your well-deserved award as USPTA Facility Manager of the Year for USTA Eastern.
Thank you.
What does this award mean to you?
Well, certainly when you receive any award, it's always a thrill, it's humbling. But I think past that, the award means to me being involved with organizations like the USPTA in USTAs. It's just really, really rewarding. I also think it goes to all the other unsung heroes in the past year of the facility managers who had to deal with COVID, being closed, not knowing how to guide or set the way, and how hard that every tennis manager worked just to try to survive and make their facility safer for both their members and their staff. And I applaud everyone who's gone through this and survived it. And I just hope that tennis keeps growing, that we've gotten through the worst of this COVID crisis. To get back to the game that has enriched our lives so brilliantly is really important. And to any up and coming tennis pro, manager, director, anyone involved in the game of tennis, I would just say that if you love and have the passion for the game that I do and that everyone who is a USPTA member does, then you should find ways to give back, whether it's a free clinic or spending extra time with a junior or working with a USTA team. I just think that giving back is really important. And I think if there's one thing I've learned and one thing I would like to stress to anyone out there is give back and you will be greatly rewarded.
This was certainly an unexpected thrill when I received the call that I was receiving the USPTA Eastern High School Coach of the Year Award. I'd like to thank USPTA Eastern for honoring me with this award. I'd also like to thank the East Aurora School District and the parents who have been so supportive of me in my coaching efforts. But most importantly, I'd like to thank the girls who I have coached throughout the years for allowing me to be their coach. Although I'm a tennis coach, I also consider myself an educator. 2 years ago, I retired as a school counselor in a neighboring district after 34 years. In addition, I've either coached or taught tennis in Western New York for 40 years. I'm incredibly passionate about helping others learn the game that I love and the game I grew up playing. I'm entering my 5th year as the coach of the East Aurora girls tennis team, the Blue Devils. They're a great team to coach. In addition to this position, I've coached at a couple of local country clubs, and currently I'm in my 5th year as the Director of Tennis and Recreation at Transit Valley Country Club in East Amherst, New York. This award has really brought me a great deal of unexpected recognition in and around West New York. I've received so many congratulatory comments from my colleagues in the industry. I'm absolutely humbled by being the recipient of this award. As a coach, I wasn't looking for this recognition, but I simply wanted to teach the sport and impart the love of the game that I have. However, this award now allows me the platform to help other coaches improve their teaching skills, their tennis teaching skills, and their coaching procedures in order to positively impact their players. This award means so much to me in that it verifies that what I'm doing with the East Aurora girls tennis team is really working. As a retired school counselor, I try to teach more than just tennis whenever I get on the court. I try and teach leadership. I try and teach hard work. I teach sportsmanship. And being named USPTA Eastern High School Coach of the Year is confirmation that I am accomplishing this mission. Once again, I'd like to thank USPTA Eastern for honoring me with this award. Thank you.
I'm honored to be the recipient of the USPTA Eastern's College Coach of the Year for 2020. I'm tennis director and head professional at the Taco Country Club in Erie, PA, and the Lakewood YMCA in Lakewood, New York. I'm always trying to add new innovative programming at our facilities to engage our current base and attract new members.
I plan to leverage my skills as a former college head coach to grow the racket sports of tennis, platform tennis, and pickleball in the local area. This award has been instrumental in my professional promotion and networking. As a young tennis teaching professional, I believe this award will help me promote my brand and put my name on the map in the Eastern region. I believe this award will attract more high-performance juniors to our programs as students with aspirations to play college tennis will value the insights of a coach who was recognized by the USPTA for their accomplishments. My tennis playing and teaching career has gone full circle, with me taking the lessons at the Lakewood Y starting at age 4, and now the one giving the lessons at age 24. Tennis has been a significant part of my life, and I'm grateful to this opportunity to turn my passion into a career.
I'd like to thank Steve Pekich for nominating me for this award. I'd also like to thank former Barry PTM Director Tom Douglas and USPTA and PTR mentors Alex Armstrong and Jim Scott for all their guidance and support. Thank you, USPTA.
It's a great honor to receive an award from USPTA. I've been a member for several years, and I honestly didn't expect to receive any awards because I'm new to the program. But I always try to get involved as much as possible, to volunteer my knowledge and the time. And this USPTA Elevate Award gives me extra strength, given that 2020 was a hard year for everybody and a lot of clubs were closed. Even though tennis has seen really great participation, a lot of tennis pros have struggled with the being that their clubs were closed. And I think this award gives me hope, for the future years just being greater than they were before, and that our sport is finally going to break through, and it's going to see really amazing participation in the future. So right now I'm the director of marketing at Matchpoint NYC. I'm also the 10 and under coordinator and a teaching pro at the club. Another thing that I'm involved with is running 10 and under tournaments at one of our facilities and working very closely with USTA. And that is being on the USTA National Committee of Schools and After Schools. I'm a member of Eastern Junior Competition Committee, Junior Team Tennis Coordinator, and I'm on the USPTA Elevate Task Force. So the USPTA, USTA, all the wonderful non-for-profit organizations that exist in the industry and just show really the impact that they can do in one person's life. If you get involved, if you participate, if you're willing to, mingle and be a part of these wonderful organizations, then you start prospering as a person, as a teaching pro, and they really help you, kind of elevate your career, which is really nice because the name of the award is actually Elevate Award.
Hello, my name is Alex Pop Moldovan. I'm the Director of Racket Sports at PGA National in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. I just want to thank USPTA Eastern for giving me this award. I really appreciate everything is done for me, and it is a great honor for me to be part of USPTA and also to be a love-serving autism coach. Everything started for me as a passion to the kids, and once I met Lisa Polisi, the founder of the foundation, I started to work with the kids with autism, and I loved it. Now I'm part of a committee that we're trying to create a manual and to be able to certify pros to be able to become specialized in adaptive tennis coaching. And I'm very proud of it. In my background, I just started, I'm Romanian. I started play tennis in Romania at the age of 9. I love to compete and play tennis, and to be honest with you, I'm a big fan of all racket sports. This award gives me more incentive and energy now to work harder and to be able to help the adaptive community to play more tennis, to get together, to socialize, to organize all kind of events and competitions. Thank you so much for the award, and I'm very grateful.
Hi, this is Greg Gahaya. I want to thank Steve Pekich and USPTA for awarding the Star Award to the Nativity School Preparatory Academy in Rochester and me. We worked together for 5.5 years, helping kids develop tennis skills, life skills, listening skills, teamwork skills. It was really it's a good ride. COVID shut it down, and hopefully we'll get it going in the future. I want to thank Larry Gavin, in particular, the director of Rapid Sports at Midtown Athletic Club, for donating time, helping procure and equipment, donating court time, and supporting my time at the Nativity School, which was twice a week. And then I want to thank Bruce Hamlin, the representative for our area in the Yonex, for their support of equipment. They donated large quantity of beautiful frames, so the kids had a very pleasant aesthetic experience in dealing with tennis. And I want to thank the kids, particularly from the Nativity School, who visit tennis was an elective. Some kids were 3 years in it, and they were ready to go on to JV and varsity tennis when they went off to high school. So it's been a really good thing. Hopefully we'll get it started up again, and I want to thank everybody who's been involved and supported it.
Hi everyone, Jason Joseph here. Thank you very much for the 2020 Eastern Pro of the Year Award. It's very humbling, it's very respectful, and my gratitude towards it is beyond words. What this award means is that I have the opportunity now to be able to reach out to more people, touch more coaches, touch more players even, but give other coaches motivation and incentive to become the best that they can be. I heard one time from a mentor of mine that being a good coach, you affect the handful of players that you're working with at that time. But if you can affect other coaches, then they affect the players that they're working with, right? And those coaches affect other coaches, and so on. So if a coach works with 4 players, they can affect those 4 players only. But if a coach works with 4 other coaches who's working with 4 players, now you're affecting 16 players. If those 4 coaches affect 4 more coaches, that's 16 coaches affecting 64 players, and it's so on. And it's infectious. And I think that, when in terms of looking at other coaches and helping other coaches and helping other players, that's one of the best things of being a coach, is helping others develop. And when I reach out to my mentors and I know how busy they are and they respond to me within 24 hours, I know that that's a big value for them, and I want to be able to share that with other coaches. So this award, I hope, will help me touch other coaches out there. Again, thank you USPTA Eastern for the recognition of this, and I hope to be able to serve USPTA, US Tennis, and beyond the best that I can. Thank you.
Congratulations, Millie, on this award. Well deserved.
Thank you, Millie, for teaching us tennis, and you made it very fun for us. And you always gave us candy after we finished the lesson. Yeah. Congratulations on getting the award.
I really like Coach Millie, my tennis teacher, because she's really nice. She made my backhands better, and she taught me how to serve it. She's really patient with me. When I do something wrong, she doesn't get angry. She just goes on with it and lets me try again until I get it right.
She taught me how to do all these moves like serve, smash, and forehand and backhand. So yeah, that's why Coach Millie is a great coach.
I can speak from my heart that Millie is a phenomenal coach. She breaks every part of the game down and is very, very patient with beginning tennis players, and I am one of them. And so thank you so much for acknowledging all that she does for her many, many players, old and young.
It's my great honor and privilege to receive this induction into the USPTA Eastern Hall of Fame.
I want to thank my peers so much for recognizing my career and all the things I've contributed. I think this is just an excellent way of celebrating. Thank you. One of the things that I learned very early in my career was that you have to listen to be able to communicate. That's a very huge thing. I came to America and playing, and the first night I was in New York, I met my bride, Dina, and we've been happily together ever since. That was in 1976 that I came here. Dina and I worked at a club in Larchmont, Bonnie Briar Country Club, for 9 years. Then we purchased our own club in Connecticut for 3 years. Skip Hartman hustled us back to New York to open up and manage and be tennis director at Roosevelt Island Racket Club there for 13 years. Then the West Side Tennis Club took me on for 14 years, did all sorts of marvelous things over there. That was a great experience, nothing but fond memories. And now I am president of Ingersoll Events and Tennis Management. It's a consulting group. I run my own tennis business out of it, but also do some consulting work with tennis clubs, academies. I have had a very long career in volunteerism. I was president of USTA Eastern in the 90s. I was chair of the USTA nominating committee as national. I was chair of Pro Circuits for 4 years. I was chair of a number of different groups. I am at present the chair of the USTA Eastern Junior Competition Committee. I am also sitting on the National Junior Competition Committee. I have done a lot of things with USTA. Some of the successful stories that I have introduced Zone Team Championships as part of a small group of people put that together. I did the very first college showcase day nationally. That was a major achievement. So it's been a very good program. I've done a couple of other programs that have been pretty successful, and I look forward to more challenges there. My USPTA experience, I have been treasurer of USPTA Eastern. I have been a tester for USPTA Eastern. I did work with our lost friend Denny Burgess on that. That was quite an experience. I've been recognized in the field. I hope to be able to contribute more. I plan on using this award to help mentor other peers and students in the industry. I like to help USPTA nationally with their mentoring program, and I think this could be a tool that would help me in that. I'd like to thank everyone, all of my peers, all of my friends, and my wife Dina for all the work and support they've given me over the years. Thank you so much.
Thank you, winners, for your hard work, commitment, and dedication to our sport and community. Up next, there just are not enough words to start to describe USPTA past president Daniel Burgess. He was a superstar in Long Island, and I think his accomplishments can be best described from his colleagues and family.
Hi, my name is Agnes Ford Burgess, and I'm here to say thank you, USPTA, and to the USTA and the tennis community at large. My husband, Daniel Burgess, played the game of tennis with love and promoted it with love. God bless you. To our sons, Sean, Daniel, and Kevin, keep carrying the legacy. Tennis for life. Love you.
name's Kevin Burgess. My father had a massive love for the game of tennis. One thing, he showed me a massive overhead. I want to thank the USPTA for honoring him, the USTA, and the love of the game that he instilled in me. Tennis gave me a bunch of opportunities. One of the most was the ability to travel. You know, I remember going to Florida looking for lizards, hunting frogs, and it was all to the game. Thanks.
My name is Branislav Grujic, and Danny Burgess made my coaching career. Danny is my mentor, my friend, my coach, my brother, and every day since that day, we miss him very, very much. I know that he's somewhere up there and looking at Ronnie and me doing all his stuff and laughing probably. Because that's Danny, you know.
What was tennis like growing up? We had a lot of fun. We learned how to run, learn how to play. We learned how to go from being boys and grow into men. As you can see, my dad was Tennis Man of the Year. Congratulations to him. Tennis is fun for everyone. Parents, kids, come join the fun.
Thank you, Danny, for everything you've done for us. You'll be missed but never forgotten. Thank you, Ron Dyson, for arranging the interviews, Joe Kosar for producing the video, Ben Adam for interviewing the winners, and the USTA for their continued support. But most of all, thank you for being a member and helping to elevate the tennis teaching standards. Folks, we're going to take a moment for a quick second to do a mic check for Emma Doyle, and I'll quickly hand it off to our featured speaker. All right, Emma, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I am doing well. Thank you. Thank you.
Good. I love that you can hear me and I can hear you first time. It's always that anxiety to go, is my mic actually working?
Yes, it is. And we're so happy to have you here. And folks, if you have questions, please write your questions in the box. Emma, would you like me to monitor the questions? Would you like to answer the questions as they come up or wait to the end?
Yeah, if you could monitor the questions. And what I'll do, I might check in with you at certain points throughout the presentation, and then we can do that as we go, and then also at the end as well. How does that sound?
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Cool.
Are you going to need to share your screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want to just check and make sure that's working?
Yep, I would love to. Let me go ahead and check it.
Fantastic.
All right, how's that looking?
Yes, I can see it.
Good. Yeah, looking good?
Yes, it's still in PowerPoint mode, but you probably want to, there you go.
Okay.
Okay, we will get started. Folks, Emma Doyle is absolutely amazing. She's a former touring pro. She's an Australian high performance coach, a motivational speaker, and apparently in her spare time, she's also a Wonder Woman. With over 30 years of teaching experience, we're lucky to have her here today presenting on how to engage the learning environment and specifically gamification. Emma, I'll pass it over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time and USPTA Eastern for this opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen straight away. And just as I do that, I caught the tail end of some of those awards, and yeah, just really enjoyed watching and listening. And you know, to the first question that I'm going to throw out there, my holy grail question of coaching, which is in 1 to a maximum of 3 words, what makes a great coach? So this is going to be interactive as we go. So I would love everyone just in the chat box, 1 to 3 words, like 3 qualities or a statement. And I'm going to see if I can pull up my chat box and have a look at some of these answers as well. But what do you think makes a great coach? I heard one of the coaches in the awards say something really important as it relates to communication. So I would love for you to throw in the chat box, making it fun. Thank you, Paul. First one, I love it. You're out there, you're giving it a go. Remember, there's no such thing as a wrong answer when it comes to this question, but certainly I'm going to type in the 3 things that I really believe in. And I would love to see, we've got passion, communication, flexibility. Thank you, Jason. Listening, that's definitely one that I heard from one of the speakers just now. The 3 E's from me: energy, empathy, and enjoyment, that taps into listening. Listening is in the top 3 responses of 450 coaches. Energy, thanks, Matt. Sandra, judgment-free zone. Wonderful. Great answers. I love that you're all having a go. And if it's okay with one of my 2 Jasons I know helping me out here today, I would love to give away a prize, because this is gamification, right? So the person who interacts the most in the chat box, I'm going to be posing questions as we go and really listening and taking in the information. I would love to offer them one of my little ebooks, the green ebook. So that's up for grabs. Already a prize up for grabs, even though I can't be in person yet. Game on. I love it. All right. So even though I said I can't be in person, I'm actually going to start straight away and let you know that I am going to be in person. I can't tell you how grateful I am to the USPTA Eastern and its members for creating this opportunity. This is my first live gig since February of 2020. I cannot wait to get back on court and be with my fellow coaches. So if you're interested, I'll pop the link in the chat box right at the end, and it's also there on the form. But you get 4 USPTA credits, and it's all about unpacking the Rogie pathway. So we're going to be starting at Blue Stage 2 to 5, only just to get us our brains thinking, doing some decision-making activities, because as we know, kids learn best through opposites. So if I say black, you say, pop it in the chat box. First person. If I say hi, you say, pop it in the chat box. Oh, I love it. I love it. We've already got some people that are like, yes, I want to win this green book. Sorry, Jasons, I don't know how you're going to work out who's going to win it, but I'll leave that up to you to figure out. But yeah, really pumped. If you can make it May 8th, Saturday afternoon at the National Training Centre, would love to see you there. But without further ado, let's get into some more gamification. And we're actually going to start with a question. Again, throw it in the chat box. All right. How many people live on planet Earth? Okay, just have a go. Remember, you can't really get the answer wrong. All right, just have a go. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and I'm loving these answers. Yes, yes, yes. Everyone's having a go. And there it is, 7.6 billion people on this planet, right? So now listen to the next question as it relates to gamification. Of that 7.6 billion people, how many people are playing online screen, as in screen, like screen games, and offline? So what I mean by offline is sporting, like physical activity. Of 7.6 million people, online games and offline games. Have a guess. What do you think? How many of that number that I just showed you? All right, we've got the answers flooding into the chat box. I'm loving this listening and interaction already. Notice I'm starting with some gamification. The answer is 2.2 billion people. Okay. All right. So that's the number. Now, here's the real kicker of a question, specifically as it relates to our topic. Of that number, as in 2.2, okay, how many people are playing online games? In other words, they're harder to convert into sport. So of that number, which is more on the side of got the headphones on and they're playing just online games. I'll give you 5 seconds. Thank you. Everyone's kicking in the chat box. I'm loving it. I'm loving the gamification already. Remember, you can't get the answer wrong. A few more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The answer is 1.5 billion people. So in other words, if we think about that, we've got those 1.5 billion people that are sort of harder to convert, okay, into potentially playing sport. We've also got an addiction rate of 12% of that number. And how many times a day are people, using the internet? 27 times a day. Okay, so here are some of the latest statistics. So it's our job as coaches, of course, is how can we convert some of these gamers into, sure, play your games, but let's also enjoy physical activity, being outside, and of course, falling in love with tennis, which is one of our big philosophies that I heard through the awards there. All right, the 2 more questions in our little gamification here. How many times an hour do people unlock their phone? How many times an hour? And this stat, I think, is a couple of years old, so it's probably even higher than what the answer I'm about to give you. But so in this next hour that we're going to spend together, potentially I'm going to lose you, hopefully not, but you're going to want to open that phone 9 to 10 times an hour. So like I said, I love the numbers in the chat box. Thank you. Everyone's throwing it in there. Yeah, it's probably higher than that number now. Like I said, these stats, about a year old. So one of my goals is hopefully you're not going to unlock that phone in the next hour. I'm going to keep you engaged because this is about engaging the learning environment. And finally, just a little fun one here. It is, of course, the average attention span of a human in 2000, we're looking at 12 seconds. The average attention span of a human now, we're looking at about 8 seconds. So the question is to throw in the chat box, do you think that the human have a longer or shorter attention span than a goldfish? Yes, a goldfish, right? Have a human or the goldfish? Throw it in the chat box just as a bit of a laugh. Our last gamification little quiz before we go. Well done, Paul. You've got it. It is, of course, it is the average attention span of a goldfish, 9 seconds. Beats us by 1. So again, my goal here today is to hold your attention, not have you unlock your phone, and let's just have some fun in this next hour together. Why and what's the motivation behind even talking about this topic? Well, what's the current status? The current status is, of course, the kids of today. When we look at this generation, throw in the chat box. Does anyone know what any of these generations are called? So obviously baby boomers, and we have the Gen X, and then just throw in anything, what came next after the X's. Yeah, great. We've got some Ys, we've got some Zs. And just remember, of course, that the current status is instant gratification. Kids of today, they're so used to things happening instantaneously. Okay. They also can create that impatient. I remember when I was a young coach, I started out in exercise physiology. And so I'd warm the kids up and get them ready to go. They'd have this light sweat going on. And a really experienced coach in Melbourne. And he's a great coach and great guy. But then he used to tell what I would call war stories. So he'd stand there for 20 minutes telling us an awesome story about Wimbledon and, playing and coaching. It was great. But then he lost lost his audience, but the messages were very good. So they are impatient, these next generations. We've got millennials, we've also got Gen Y and Alpha. Well done, nice. Christiana, I hope I pronounced that right. Awesome. That's that next generation coming. Well done. So that's this now culture. So that's our current status, and we know that about kids. Potentially, if we look at tennis as a product, our ultimate fear is that they're going to come and say, oh, this sport's boring, and they're going to quit unless we do something about it, of course. So we don't want that. That's not what we want, but that's potentially one of the ultimate fears that we have. And then if you go back to these baby boomers or Gen X's and Y's, what are some of the values that we see within coaches? Okay. And what is there a conflict? I mean, that's the question you've got to ask yourself. We see loyalty, we see dedication, we see commitment, we see patience. So that's a good thing. Flipping the non-patient. We see a lot of intrinsic motivation. We're dedicated. We like to learn. Family is important, belonging is important, and that's important for kids of today as well. And respect. We walk out on the court as coaches, and we start from a position of thinking, yeah, look, I'm the coach. I want you to respect me. And unfortunately, it's almost it has to work the other way around. So sometimes it can be that conflict of values between the current status and, of course, the next generation. So if we flip the current status into what are the promises of this webinar. So what I'd love for you to be able to walk away with is some pretty cool language tools. So just, again, you don't have to agree with anything that I say. You just have to be super, super curious. Okay. So language, some of the ways that you can reframe your language, some words you can just play around with. For example, just, mission instead of tactics. Okay. Just, your mission here, should you choose to accept it, that they probably won't get that joke. Some of type in the chat box, yes, if you just got my indirect joke there, or from what movie that's from. Just try it on, right? Just add some of these things into your coaching toolkit. That's my little nephew there. Bodhi, I love that picture. I was doing a presentation at Australian Open Grand Slam Coaches Conference, and he won one of the little gamification games. It was called the Grand Prix, and he threw both his arms up like he'd won Wimbledon, which of course tapping into their motivation is our ultimate key, because it doesn't matter what we're motivated by. It's obviously, put the player at the center of the learning, and what do we get? We get them to understand their motivations. So that's the promises of this webinar that I'm going to tap into. And finally, some creative ideas. So I'm going to show you some practical activities, depending on how we're going for time, but I've also put them up on my YouTube channel, at least 5 gamification activities, including tennis Quidditch, so that ultimately rather than our ultimate fear, our ultimate aspiration, of course, is that we retain our players and they fall in love with tennis, because we never know where their journey may lead. So that is the promises of this webinar, as long as you don't unlock your phone and miss some of the messages. All right, so I'm going to pause there. Jason, do you want to check in with me, and if there is any questions come up that you need me in the Q&A? Or are we good to go? Keep going?
Keep on going.
Keep on going. I love it. So remember, as questions come up, throw them in the chat box, and each time I stop on screens like this, I'll check in with my 2 Jasons. I love that. All right, here we go. We have got for you 5 strategies. All right, the first strategy is what is gamification, and I'll also just say, is it another buzzword? Okay, is it just like, oh, this is the latest thing, right? And in some ways, well, let's go through the definition first, and then I'll sort of answer that question for you as I think what I think about that. Gamification is the use of game-like thinking and mechanics. So game-like thinking and mechanics, so that you make the learning fun and beyond fun, something where they actually improve. That's important. So that they want to come back. That's the engagement piece. They want to come back week after week after week. Okay. One of the most successful stories I have around that was this little boy I was coaching who he was really into Minecraft, and he'd had some behavioral issues within the group lessons. So it was a private setting. And so we just played Minecraft every single week. Okay. He just collected the stone, the brick, the water, the cement, and he built a house out of cones. But once he achieved each of the themes or the activities, and we'd focus on consistency, and we'd focus on attack and defend. We'd focus on all these tactical objectives, missions, and he didn't miss a lesson. And it was still one of a really cool sort of success story, especially with what he's doing now with his life, so that they can experience. This is the critical part of gamification as well. Success and failure frequently. We want success and failure frequently, because that's tennis. As we know, and I love that stat about Nadal. It's probably not exactly 100% right, but of all the French Open matches he's won, we're looking at 98% of all these French Open matches. That's his winning percentage. But how many points is he winning compared to losing? I mean, he's still coming second in the rally at least 46 or 48% of the time. So tennis is a game where we have to get over ourselves really quickly, really frequently, and experience success and failure. And so gamification does that. So back to the original question I posed, is it just another buzzword? Certainly from my perspective, it's just great coaching, because it's using scoring systems to help with that motivation, using equipment to help with that motivation. And so good coaches have been doing this for years. So yes, it is another buzzword, but if you do take the principles of it, which I'll get to in a minute, you can do some pretty cool things. So let's press on. All right, that's the first strategy. The second strategy is back in the chat box. Get ready to be engaged in the chat box. All right, so it is the motivation, as in the why behind why people play online games. And then we can talk about how that relates to tennis. So first of all, if there's any gamers out there, then you might know what some of these, so the letters are just have a guess. So even if you're not a gamer, what do you think C stands for? What do you think? I love that 1, 2, 3, go tennis. Communications, excellent. I love that you had a go. PS, what could that stand for? RPG. You may have heard of that one, and you may have heard PvP. And if I hadn't heard of any of these, and I'm certainly wouldn't consider myself a gamer, right? But we can learn them. Oh, yes, nice. I'm not sure the name there of the person in the chat box, but role play games. So we've got one correct answer there. Well done. Role play games. Awesome. PvP, you may have heard of that one. And then S, have a go, and just have a go. What do you think it could stand for? All right, because I'm about to reveal the answers, so I'll give you 5 more seconds. I love the strategy. I'll just throw that one in there. I love it. Fantastic. Oh, close, very close, Tom. PvP, person to person. Oh, very, very close. All right, let's have a look at the answers. These are the 5 reasons that people play online games, and once you see them, you'll go, wow, this is tennis. Aaron, player versus player. Thank you. Correct. So we got 2 out of 5 as a group there. Well done. All right, so let's reveal the first one and think about how that relates to tennis. So the letter was C, and it stands for, thank you for having a go, collectors. So they play games because they want to collect things. Now, let's just think about that in the context of tennis. Obviously, you can't win a game unless you group 2 points in a row, like in the traditional format. I know we have sudden death juice, or I forget what you call it here in America, but that's what we call it back home. But, you know, we're talking about grouping 2 points in a row. I mean, that is tennis, right? You have to collect points. So collectors is a big one. The next one is, so PS stood for puzzle solvers. Make no mistake about it. I'm sure you will all agree tennis is a problem-solving game. We have to solve the problem. The famous quote, I'm not sure who originated, it was either Jimmy Connors or Jim Courier, the JC men, said, I've never ever lost a tennis match in my life. I've only ever run out of time to solve the problem. I love that. Imagine that. I've also got my little fortune cookie ball here, right? So if one of my players, you know, comes second in a match, just cut open the ball and just have them pull out a fortune cookie. Maybe, Jason, you can ask me to read whichever one I pulled out later, right? So it's a problem solving game. All right, no, I'll read it now. This one, I either win or I learn. So there you go. I love it. All right. Now, the next one, someone did get it, which is role play games. So a narrative. So taking players on a journey. Hello, that's what we want. We want them to retain players. We want to fall in love with tennis. So how do we do that? It's a journey over time. We've got to sell the journey. If they can see where they're heading, I mean, it's, unlocking the Rogie pathway. We're going to be doing at the National Training Centre on the 8th of May. I know that you all want to come and join us. Role play games, and big on role play, especially in that blue stage, that 2 to 5 year old stage. All right. The next one, somebody got it, was player versus player. All right. Make no mistake about it. Player versus player. Hello. That's tennis. Yeah. PvP. It's a battle. It's a battle of competition. And one of our goals, of course, of as coaches is to help kids fall in love with the battle of competition. So once we've got, introducing at that red stage, and once, they've got a partner, and then at orange, now we can start to say, now you're playing against your partner. So at green, now that person becomes an opponent, player versus player. And then finally, the S stands for social. People play because their friends play. You play, so I play, right? And that, I'm sure you've had even a parent this week was asking me, her daughter doesn't want to move up to the next class because her friends are still in this class. So even though her level's there, she's like, I want to stay with my friends. So they're all the tricky things as coaches we have to navigate through. But social is a big part of it. That sense of belonging, I'm sure at the club, you can all relate to that. So that was strategy number 2. All right, time for some interaction in the chat box. I've mentioned 2 of my favorite sort of, oh, there we go. I've already got one up on the screen. There you go. So mission is one of my favorites. So think about language and how this strategy relates to how you can adjust your language. What else have we got? Throw it in the chat box. When you think gaming and you think gaming language, a lot of what I'm about to show you, I'd never even heard of. And again, like I said, I'm not a gamer, but remember, you can learn it. Okay. So I am a Generation X girl. So missions, it was one that I've already said. Does anyone, please in the chat box, just throw out anything else that you know? Yeah. Levels. I love that. I love that sense of accomplishment through, remember, collecting things, and they move up the ladder. Collect, gather. Inventory, right? Yep, bit more of maybe it's a green stage or a yellow ball word, but still they're the things that you can sort of talk about. Recall, you can reboot things rather than replay the point. Let's reboot the point. Just a different way of getting into who they are and the type of language that they're used to with the games that they enjoy. One of my all-time favorite orange ball activities is lock and unlock the court. Lock and unlock the court. Battle was one that I mentioned earlier. I love battle. Copy and paste. Nice one. 1, 2, 3, go tennis. Love that. Has anyone heard of this one? Res, okay, which is basically where you die or you lose a life, but obviously you can come back, which is the respawn. You can re-enter the game. Okay, so just again, little ways of, I'm sure everyone would have played, actually, let me reframe that. You may have heard those old school games, where you lose a life. Okay, well, you can change the language around that to really be in their realm or their world. So you're inside what they're inside, so that you can restore and you can get energy. Okay, and those energy could be HP points, which is health points. Some nice little indirect potentially bonuses around that and around language. Okay, so so thank you for in the chat box just having a go. All right, so strategy number 3 is equipment. All right, and after I go through this slide, I'll pause just to see if there's any questions that have come up so far in the chat box. The coolest thing about all these pictures in this equipment is that most of them are old school, really, really old school. So if you do come and join us on the 8th of May, you can see that I'm so keen to get back on court. I'll be bringing my little, right, but at home, the last business that I ran, director of sort of an indoor center, we had these large timers. So, you know, the coach is always saying, all right, ready, set, go when you're timing an activity. Well, why not have the kids just self-time and self sort of create the pressure on themselves, you know, flipping over the old school timer. I've got my little miniature equipment here, the pegs, or you know, if you've actually got clothesline pegs. I mean, I actually, to be honest, quick funny story about, I ended up, you know, a girl from Melbourne going to Murfreesboro, Tennessee to play D1 college tennis back in the early 90s or mid 90s, whatever. I'd never seen a dryer before. I'd never used a dryer. And in Melbourne, all linen clothing was really, really popular. So I threw my linen in the dryer. And of course, what happened? Everything, speaking of miniature, everything came out like tiny, like, you know, my shirts and anyway, it was the best thing that ever happened. I had to go down the Hickory Hollow Mall in just outside of Nashville, and my college teammates Americanized me with some khaki pants and checkered shirts or whatever it was back then. But I love, again, I'm just telling you that story. That was a bit of a random story that wasn't planned in this presentation. It just came to mind. But the point is, it's old school equipment that you can use to gamify your lessons, which is pretty cool. So does anyone can relate? Dice, cards. Oh, and with cards, you know, these are some of the cards that we use. Like these are all homemade, right? So the Girl Power Camp cards. So this is they're all gemstone affirmation cards, right? So this is the onyx. I am powerful and explosive. One of my favorite, the ruby stone, all related to the stone that we use in the Girl Power camps. I am courageous, right? So cards, right? The mission cards, right? So a bunch of mission cards. This one here with Nadal is win the point with your opponent behind the baseline, right? So just a bunch of these cards, male and female role models, of course. The ladder, collecting, moving up levels, right? Bean bags, old school bean bags. Love bean bags, especially for your younger classes. Timers, pegs, or pins. That's right. That's what they're called here in the States. And just using the cones and just using the balls, you'll see that in the activities that I'll show you live. Great. So who uses any of this equipment already? So just throw in the chat box as I reach out to Jason, and I'll just pause there to see if there's any questions that have come up in the chat box. But let me know what equipment you have, or what are you going to go to the dollar store and potentially it's $2 store back home, but the dollar store and buy some equipment. I love those stores. Jason, I'll just check in with you there. Has any questions come up?
No, we're looking good. Keep on going. Just a lot of comments. People are loving it.
All right. Fantastic. So that was strategy number 3. And strategy number 4 is I just want to briefly mention that, you know, my dad and I trained a lot together as kids, and he's a scientist. So he's not a tennis coach, but of course, you know, he was my practice partner for many hours. So he's always saying, hey, Emma, you know, these activities are actually, there is a connection to the brain, and it does help in those formative years develop things like memory recall. So you would have seen on that previous slide, actually, let me just go back to it. One of my favorite games, you know, just put 4 cards at the front and 4 cards there, and only 2 of those cards are the same. And so the kids, you know, you have to do something. It might be win a point, but it might not be win a point. It might be just if you get 2 serves in, they've got to flip a card over. They've got to try and 2 cards and try and remember where all the cards are and then match up the cards. So, you know, that's helping with memory recall. We've got construction with the problem solving. With the constructing the sequence of points. And problem solving. So left brain, right brain, all these things do actually help build that neuroplasticity, which is so important, especially in the formative years and at that onset of puberty. So there is a connection to the brain. And finally, the last strategy is please just remember, I think sometimes it can get really lost. What can get lost in gamification is when you try and do too many gamification things within one lesson. All right. So, this is a real example of the training blocks. I'm a big believer in sharing your annual plan with your parents in advance, so they can like, oh, wow, this person really knows what they're doing because this is what's coming up. And, you know, if parents do want to then help their children, they can help them tactically. They can help them with the mission. Okay. And that is, of course, So let me just go through an example. January, we've got a 2-week training block. The theme is AO, the Australian Open's obviously normally on during January. The tactical mission is consistency. The physical, this is all based on the A through Z program, agility, balance, and we have colors, coordination, dots, effort, flexibility, etc. And then notice the gamification always relates to some sort of mindset skill or a mindset mindset skill. So consistency, you can imagine flipping over a card. Let's say it's an old school deck of cards and black is backhand and red is forehand, and you flip over a 5 red, then you've got to potentially hit 5 forehands. And if it's a red stage game, it could be just 5 forehands into a target or into a player catching in a cone. And that's, so the mindset skill related to that is focus. The cones, flipping over the cones, turning the cones is related to problem solving. And you'll see that in one of the activities that I'm about to show. So please note that it does live within an annual plan, but I wouldn't suggest that you do within, say, a training block, the dice, then the cones, then the cards, then, you know, you keep swapping it up. You want the kids to get familiar with things. So in many ways, they can do little self activities and really understand and take some ownership over that as well. So we can build in those old school, remember the old school coaching values, we can build them into the way that we go about things, indirectly, of course. So that's really important. I really think annual plans. Oh, and on that, you're probably wondering from this annual plan, what's missing? What is missing? I haven't thrown anything in the chat box lately. So let's throw it in the chat box. What's missing from, you think about the important elements of teaching tennis and improvement. Does anyone want to have a guess? We usually focus on four things. All right, just have a go. Show me just have a guess in the chat. Tactics, mindset, physical, and of course, yes, scoring. Yep, good one. I like that. I would put that down. The scoring very much is tied up within the gamification. There's one more that's missing that people love to talk about at conferences. We love it. Of course, what is it? Team points, yes, within gamification. That's sportspersonship is within mindset. So that's always within mindset, but I love it. I love it. We always shake hands and say, thank you for making me a better player. It starts with T. What coaches can't get enough of? It's all over YouTube. What is it? Teamwork. I'm like that. It comes under mindset. Team spirit, mindset, technique. Anna, thank you, Anna. Technique. We've got tactics in there under, obviously, tactical in front of you. So of that annual plan, what's missing is the technical aspect. And am I saying technique is not important? Absolutely not. I'm also a technical junkie. Like, I love it as much as everyone else. And I'm really grateful for the early foundational years that I had back in, through a lot of different mentors on my technical sort of foundation. But remember, within an annual plan and what you're going to give to the parents, I don't necessarily believe putting a technical objective up in front of the parents is the best way to go about it. So the technique is within the tactical foundation. So once I've got a tactical foundation, consistency, then it might be making sure I've got a loop on my forehand each time. So that's the coach's job, to progress, regress, and to improve the player. And that's for the coaches. You know, maybe you could add that into your annual plan, but make sure that's, you know, for your coach staff training, not for an annual plan that you share with your parents. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for those comments in the chat box. It's going to be so, I don't know, the two Jasons, I don't know how you're going to work out who was most active in the chat box. I'll leave that one to you. All right, the tactics. So the tactics is, how do we apply these principles? And what we're going to do now is we're going to look at a video. And within the video, you're going to see you're going to see 5, if we have time, hopefully we do, 5 activities. So the video does go for just over 10 minutes, I believe. And when you're watching the videos, I'd love for you to be in the chat box. I love, Abby, you made me laugh there. For us grannies, I put myself in that category too with, I've been coaching since I was 14. So all things that we can learn, I learn something new every day. So I want you to think about, when you're watching the video, I want you to think about what is the gamification equipment. I want you to think about always what is the tactical objective. And I want you to think about, what are you observing? Okay, so just you can write in anything. And are the players having fun? Here's and just that little picture there. Look at the little positive affirmations under the cone. Just again, homemade equipment. I can do it. I love competing. I'm ready. I belong here. You'll see that in one of the activities as well. So just in the chat box, I'll be in the chat box as well. Please sit back, watch the activities. They'll just go back to back. And when I do this, Jason, can you send me a message in the chat box to make sure that you can hear the sound, and hopefully that you can, everything's going well. We're going to start with tennis Quidditch, and please interact in the chat box with me as you watch these activities.
Okay, so here's your first taste of gamification. Now, this is called tennis Quidditch. Okay, pretty excited to show you this one. I invented it in 2002, and I promise you the kids absolutely love it. So these are called golden balls. Now, Tina down the other end actually played on the tour, and when you win championships in America, you win these golden balls. So these are our little golden snitches today. So come on out, Maddie and Clay, yes, and I'm Coach Emma. Okay, these are our little champion players here today. So this is how the game works. So the first part of the game is the players have to hide the golden snitch under one of the cones, and the other player doesn't know which one it's under. Does that sound cool? So do you want to close your eyes first and face that way? Close your eyes, and you're going to run down the other end, and you and Tina are going to run down to Tina, and you're going to hide that golden snitch. You've got 10 seconds. Go. 10, 9. Oh, look at that run. I love her energy already. So that's what the kids are doing. So they're going to hide it under one of the cones. Now, of course, Clay doesn't know which one it's under. Okay, well done. Now you stand behind Tina, and Tina's going to then, and then can you get her to close her eyes and face that way? All right, are you ready, Clay? All right, go. You've got 5 seconds. Hide the golden stitch under one of the cones. So again, this end. The kids can choose any cone they want. It's under there. And then he's just going, now Tina and I are going to demonstrate so the kids get a feel of what it's about. So starting with a nice overarm throw to begin the point. Touch the ground so we get that nice palm down with the overarm throw. And then we play out the rally. It looks like this. So we're competing from the word go. And as soon as the rally's over, we're both going to freeze. So, freeze. So she came second in the rally, freeze. So she runs to the closest cone, which is the green one. She lifts it up. It's not there. Now you run the cone off the court. While she does that, I get another ball. And how do I start the rally? I touch the ground. Beautiful. And we start the rally. So watch one more time for the demonstration. So this time, freeze. She runs up to the cone. She lifts it up. The golden snitch was there. So she picks it up, pick up the golden snitch. We come into the net. We shake hands. And we always say, thank you for making me a better player. I grab the golden snitch, but before I do, she has to tell me one thing I did well. So what's one thing I did well today? Just in those points.
Consistency.
Consistency. So I take the snitch. That's the game. The first activity is called hat trick. And in this activity, of course, in Australia, do you have hat trick in America? Does anyone know what a hat trick is? 3 points in a row. In tennis, it's really important that we learn how to group the points in a row. So here are our star players here today. We've got Sebastian, we've got Blake, and of course we've got Clay. Now, in this activity, what you'll see in a minute, we're going to use the shape of the court. We're going to change the shape of the court so that you can serve anywhere in the half, not just the service box. Now you have to return the ball. Now as Clay, you roll the ball out, you're going to use the inside of your foot to kick it back and still try and win the rally. Tina and I will do a demonstration so you get it. You have to try and win 3 points in a row. Now gamification for this activity is they have to try and work out what is spelt under these words. So if you win 3 points in a row, what he'll do, this is your side here. Sebastian, this is your side here. You'll come over, remove the cone and turn over the first letter in the square. So then it's 1, 2, over, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then they swap over. So that's what you got to do. Try and spell the word. As soon as you think you know what the word is, it's something to do with tennis. you win the game. It's that simple. Are we ready? So this is called hat trick. It looks like this. The players start a little bit further up the court. Now they can serve anywhere in the juice court, not just in the service box. So it looks like this. Stand right back, Sebastian. Good man. Beautiful. Here we go. So I serve anywhere in that half. Now she's got to hit it back, kick it back, and try and get to that ball. So there's a tactical learning there. I'm not going to tell Tina, and I'm not going to tell the kids. They've got to try and discover it and work it out. Let's do another. So's Tina. Fantastic. Here we go. Good. Play ball. He's got to roll. Kick. Good. Now compete. Compete. Now this marker here is only where you serve from. You don't have to use this as a recovery position. I'm going to let you decide where you think the best recovery point for you is. So how many points have you won? One. Now, anytime we hit the ball in the net, we'll move it straight away. Okay? There's a reason behind that, and I'll ask you later. Stand right on the line. I want the kids to stand right on the line there. So they're serving in the middle, so you get all these cool things with the racket head that they have to discover. Okay, all right. This next activity is called Ripper Return. So the focus is going to be on Clay, who's going to be returning. So Clay, watch me. How it works is Tina's still aiming and directing her serve, and obviously I'm trying to think about my return patterns. Okay, it looks like this. So move left, hit right, hit the first shot, and then I've got to catch that next shot. So I'm thinking about, did my return put her under any pressure? And she's also thinking, did my return put her under any pressure? If not, you just leave the cone at the back of the court where it is. If the reserve or the return put us under pressure, we move it one space towards the side fence. So it's Ripper Return, getting the kids to feel, move right, hit left, hit right. When in doubt, hit it down the tunnel. So giving them little things to think about in their head, as well as scoring, not based on whether the shot goes in or out. It's based on whether the shot impacted you. You pick up the cone and you take one step towards the side fence. That's the scoring. That's it. Are we ready? Run down the other end. Brooke, you're going to serve. Clay, you're going to do Ripper Return. So do you remember? So just show me that you understood. So get ready. All right, ready, position. Now the serve makes you go this way. Move right, we're going to hit it. Left. Now go this way. Move left, which way are you going to hit it? Right, and when in doubt, hit it down the tunnel. Then so Brooke, serve and first shot. Serve and first shot. Then you run over and you've got to try and catch her next shot. So he's having a look at the impact of his return because he has to catch the ball. All right, here we go. Ripper Return. Good. Now catch this ball. Catch it. Good. Great return. So walk over the cone. You leave it where it is, or do you think that she impacted you? Did she put your... Yeah, he does. He thinks so. He moves her over one. Well done. So Brooke, if you feel his return impacted you and put you under pressure, you move your cone one step towards the fence. Okay, here we go. Leave it still if nothing. All right, ready position for your return. Here we go. Let's have a look at which way he moves. So he moves this way. Yeah, that's a great serve. So even though he didn't stick to the pattern, it was a great serve. Where were you trying to hit it? Yeah. So when in doubt, down the tunnel. Yeah. All right, so he's going to move it. Big step. One big step. There you go. Activity 2, it's called North, South, East, West. Now I want to introduce you to our next little superstar, Brooke, another lefty. In this video, I'm loving how many lefties that we've got. It's, you never know when you're going to come up against a lefty. Now, this activity, North, South, East, West, we're going to demonstrate it first, but essentially the score line is where we're working on trying to close out the match. So in these situations, we are up in the score line. So the score line is, for example, 40-30. Okay, and if I win that point, then I'm going to come over to my first cone and flip over the cone. And on the bottom, each of the cones will have an affirmation. So you turn it upside down, and you say, I can do it. And then you go to the next side of the court. So that's how it works. Can you flip that one back over for me? All right, so we're going to demonstrate on the deuce court, and I'm going to start over here. Now, I'm going to choose either, for example, over on the deuce court, north is way back here, south is up here, north, south, east, or west. I choose where I want to serve to start the rally. Okay, you can pick for me. What would you like for me for the demonstration? Okay, I can tell already that was a question to see how, that's a pretty smart answer. This one's obviously the easiest one. So I'm up in the game. Okay, there are 4 times where I'm up in the game. 40, 30, 40, 15, 40 level advantage in. What do you want? Okay, so the score's 40, 15. If I win this point, I turn over my cone. Okay, it looks like this. I'm serving from here. Got to serve it in the box, and we compete. I won the point. I come over to my affirmation, I turn it over, and it's I can do it. So I say that out loud. I can do it. I come over to the next side. I choose another score line. I'm going to choose south this time. And we've already done 40, 15. So now we're going to do 40, 30. Okay, I'm serving from here. Here we go. Okay, I came second in the rally. I just go to the other side and the score was 40, 30. So now the score is deuce. We keep going until I can flip over all 4 of my affirmation cones. South. You can move, you can move. All right, now was that a coachable moment? Absolutely. What do you need to do better after you serve? Yeah, get ready based on what you think he's going to do. Okay, I love what you did after you played. So after you served, here you moved to here, and then you moved in. I love what you did on the second choice. Have a think about your first choice. Okay, did you win the game? Okay, so what do you do? And read it out loud for me. I belong here. I can do it. I belong here. Fantastic things that we want the kids to say. Okay?
Okay, I'm going to pause the video there. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to interact with you in the chat box because every time I did, the video froze. So you learn something new every single day you present over Zoom. So look, you know, I think one of the comments I saw come up, is it really that simple? Yes, it really is that simple. So you would have seen in the Quidditch game, there's a whole series that goes before it, like a bit like a narrative. But you know, it's a problem-solving activity, and there's a little bit of chance which builds resilience, because once you hide the golden snitch under one of the cones, I could say be playing against my opponent and I could have won 5 points and they only win 1 point and they could still win the game. They could still find the snitch first. So again, builds character, builds resilience, and it's problem solving of where you think the snitch might be hidden under. So we saw gamification there. Then on the next activity, the hat trick, use of the ladder, we actually did like a spelling bee, like they did. One of the words said Serena and one said Sloane. So teaching our young male players about role models, American role models. What are some more of the affirmations I've just seen Sandra asking there? Things like I am present, I am ready, I am here, I am now. I love competing, I belong here, I can do it. Things that just really help them stay in the moment. With the Girl Power Camps, we tap into a few other things relating to the gemstones, but yeah, there's some of the ones just to help with the affirmations to help the players stay in the present. And with that game too, Sandra, when they get to the blue cone, I ask them how many goes at match point do they want. So adding extra pressure on that final one to win that 4th point. And if they come second in that rally or they lose the point, depending on their age and level is the language that I use, they've got to start again. All right. So if they say they want one chance to win, to flip over the last match point, the last cone, which says I love competing usually, then they've got ways to embrace that last point, rather than, I know certainly in chapter 1 of my life, maybe you can relate, you know, those coaches, and I was guilty of this as well, where you do this lesson and then you say, right, you know, last point, and you compete for the last point. And, you know, it's like you don't do any other competing the whole time. I think gamification, you layer in the competition throughout as we go. But I'm going to pop in the chat box. There was one more activity to go, the Baker's Dozen, and the gamification is using the balls. He's got 13 tennis balls to be able to hit wide body tee on the deuce and the advantage sides. So you can use the balls, you can use the cones, you can use the ladder, and obviously closed pegs or pins, are great for more red ball to help them with scoring. And you can move them across the net, you can move them up the net, you can pin them to their hat or their clothing. So we tend to use those more in red ball, but you'll just get a feel for that based on your players. All right. So thank you for those questions. Sorry I couldn't interact with you.
Final activity is called Baker's Dozen.
Stop that.
So in
All right. So what's the game plan? We've reached the game plan for this presentation, and hopefully then we'll have some Q&A. Let's just recap the benefits of gamification. Hopefully you saw within that there's a little boys survivor camp, by the way, and see the he's wearing the yellow on him, but the immunity beads. So when you wear the immunity beads, you can't lose the point. Again, the $1 store, right? So go get yourself down to that $1 store. All right. Some of the benefits. Can anyone type in the chat box? Let's get that chat box going again, just to bring it all home. What do you think are some of the benefits? What did you see? What are some of your thoughts now that you've sort of 45 minutes through this presentation? Anyone want to get that chat box active for me again as I pop some up on the webinar as well? They experience success and failure, embracing pressure, building resilience, allows for problem solving, understanding different motivations, tapping into imagination. Thank you, Abby. Fantastic, wonderful, and engaging and fun. And we're really, you would have seen in all of those activities, there was always a strong tactical theme that then could drive the coaching and the technical elements as well. You can do gamification for technique as well, for sure, which hopefully makes it fun and they improve. And then that's what makes it engaging for them to want to come back. All right. As I mentioned, anyone in the chat box, anyone want to join us on the 8th of May? The effort is definitely worth it. There's the link down the bottom. And as soon as I stop sharing my screen, I'm going to pop all these links that you're about to see in the chat box. But there's a form.jotform.com/USPTA Eastern /specialty. And it's Coach Youth Tennis the Aussie way. So we're going to be unpacking the Rogie pathway, going through all the stages as it relates to building independent decision makers. And we're going to be looking at some really cool serve progressions as well, technically. We're meeting at 12:30 in the lobby of the National Training Centre. I don't even know where that is yet, but Jason assures me that I will find it. At 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. is the course time. I would love to see anyone going to come. I hope so. And please share it with any of your other coaches. Just a couple of other things. If I've sparked your interest, my ACE Coach membership site is only $10 a month, 2 cups of coffee. And you'll see there's a whole gamification course in there, as well as 16 or 15 other courses as well. I'll pop all the links up in a minute. And USPTA E 2021 is the discount code to get all 5 of the books that are all about the Rogie pathway. There's 5 of them. That'll bring that price down to $40, but only within 24 hours, because I'm all about taking action. So that code is only available in the next 24 hours. Like I said, I'll pop it up in the chat box once I stop sharing my screen. And the last one, my Girl Power camps, I'm pretty passionate about those. If anyone wants me to come and run one, like I said, I'm back in person. I'm on your side of the world just for about 2 weeks as of Monday. I can't wait. That'll bring that one down to $50. It's USPTA GP for Girl Power 2021. And I'll throw that link in the chat box. So finally, what is your game plan? Implement 2 gamification strategies for me this week or within the next month. Check out more of the ACE Coach education or subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've only just started uploading videos. There's a whole series on how to fall in love with the continental grip. It's all gamified, would you believe? And how to develop rhythm on a serve. And for 40 points, anyone wants 40 points, that means you're going to join me on Saturday week, 8th of May, to win the game. Ultimately, it is about engaging your players. It's been a pleasure. I know I certainly always have lots of content to share. So I hope it didn't feel too rushed, but you can feel the energy and the passion, and maybe it might have rubbed off a little bit. And yeah, just can't wait to see everybody, hopefully on the 8th of May in person. So excited. I know I've said it 50 times, because the ball, as I always say, is in your court to win the game. Oh, there we go. Don't want to wreck my new camera, but it's always in your court to take action. And I would love for you to take action as a result of spending an hour with me where you didn't unlock your phone. You listened beautifully, which is what makes a great coach. And thank you so much. So what I'm going to do now is stop sharing my screen. And the first thing I'm going to do now that I can type in the chat box without my computer freezing on me is pop some of these links in the chat box. And as I do that, yeah, Jason, do you want to? Oh, you're already back. Look at you. You're already back. All right. Link number 1 is in there, and I'm just going to share the next couple of links all in a row for you, so that Jason, you can hit me with a question or two, hopefully. And I don't know how you're going to work out who won the little Ace Tennis for Kids green book, but
I have a running total of that, so I'm going to let Jason read off the question that's on there, and I've been running around like a squirrel on crack trying to add up all the answers coming in.
Thank you. Sorry, I threw that one on you last minute, but
all
all the links are there. All right, Jason,
Emma,
questions?
thank you so much. Folks, if you have any questions for Emma, feel free to pop them in the box. Otherwise, you're welcome to email Emma at doyle.emma@gmail.com, correct?
Well, actually, I'll stop you there. Would you believe I only use that email? If someone has USPTA in their email, it bounces back. So that I only use that email when someone's got USPTA in there. It's so bizarre. So let me pop my actual email in the chat box.
Okay.
The one that I check constantly. So the other one is a personal one. So thanks for sharing my personal one, but anyway.
Started with emails. Well, I think that your energy is second to none. I think your knowledge is incredible, and I think based on everyone's comments, this was a fantastic webinar. And of course, we're looking forward to getting back in person, not this weekend, but next weekend, and getting back to these in-person workshops is just so important to have that one-on-one time. So we're looking forward to it. You're going to actually meet Jason Joseph there.
Oh, cool.
You'll meet Paul Fontana. He'll be there as well. And folks, we urge you to sign up for this specialty course next weekend at the National Tennis Center. We're going to put that registration in the chat box as well. And we hope to see you guys there.
Beautiful. I think there is one question from, I'm not sure who 123 Go Tennis is, but I do see one question. I've only got one question. Look at that. Do you see that one? The one I'm reading is, it's fun to learn with you. Thank you. Do you have tricks to make a kid snap out of his or her bad mood? I love that question. Thank you, 123 Go Tennis. I'd love your name to be revealed, 123 Go Tennis. Why don't you just come and join me on the 8th and tell me your name in person? But great question.
He or she, yes. I think that's our Quebecois friend. I think he or she is over the border.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you. Thank you. One little tip and trick I have around that, that I love, that I use all the time, is first of all, matching and mirroring their body language. So if a kid's really down, or they're really like, you know, they've got their racket between their legs and they're just sort of, you know, not really doing that well, one thing I'll do is I'll go down to them, or I might soften my tone, or just sort of match and mirror a little bit and be on their level and really get down. And then in terms of like a little trick to snap them out of it, I might say something like, can you smell that? Is that popcorn? Or one in Melbourne, you know, like you get to look up at the cloud. Is it going to rain later on today? And then of course, and then all of a sudden, you know, throw a giant dice in their hand and get them to roll it. All right. Or you know, if they're feeling a bit down, use one of these dices has got all like really cool words on it. Or you can use the fortune cookie ball if you want to help them snap out of it. really good cues, but things like that and gamification helps kids snap out of it all the time, especially if you can find one that actually motivates them that they're into. So I hope that was useful. Anything else, Jason, or are we over time already?
We're over, but that's totally fine. It's
Totally fine. So should we announce, oh, hang on, the Q&As now. Here we go. Gamification, yes. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. No problem at all. Any other questions from either of my Jasons?
I'm gonna save all of my questions till May 8th because everyone needs to come and hear all the questions. I have a ton of questions for you, Emma.
I can't wait. Can't wait. I
We
might
should
not be
start
able to
an hour
answer
early.
them all. I might not be able to answer them all, but I know that I'll be super curious to explore potential answers. So thank you so much. And drum roll for who won the who do I need to grant access to the
Oh
ACE
man,
tennis?
it was close according to my scrambling efforts. 1, 2, 3 Go Tennis came in third. Tom Walker came in second, although he left early, and our winner by 1 was Christina Treboy.
Wow.
Awesome. So Jason, can you send me her email?
Yes.
Beautiful. And I will, as soon as I get her email address, I'll grant her access to that one.
Fantastic.
Wonderful. All right.
Thank you again for an amazing presentation. We're looking forward to seeing you in person. And thank you everybody for joining us today and celebrating our award winners, celebrating the life and the impact of Danny Burgess. And thank you for joining us for Emma's presentation. We'll see you guys soon and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody. Bye for now. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
See ya. Bye.